Hey everyone. Tonight, we're sailing into one of the most infamous stretches of ocean on Earth. A place where ships vanish without a trace, where planes disappear mid-flight, where compasses spin uselessly and time itself allegedly bends. We're entering the Bermuda Triangle, and I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening out there, whether it's science, coincidence, or something far stranger that nobody wants to talk about. So before we set course into these mysterious waters, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want content about the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. Only if you're genuinely into this though, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is. I love knowing there are people from Singapore to Stockholm all wondering the same thing at the exact same moment. What the hell is going on in the Bermuda Triangle? Now, dim those lights, get comfortable, put on some headphones if you've got them. Because where we're going, reality gets slippery. Facts blur into legend, and the line between what we know and what we fear becomes impossibly thin. Let's find out why. The Bermuda Triangle, also called the Devil's Triangle, a region of the western North Atlantic Ocean, roughly bounded by 3 points: Miami, Florida to the west, the island of Bermuda to the north, and San Juan, Puerto Rico to the south. Connect those 3 locations with imaginary lines and you get a triangle covering approximately 500,000 square miles of open ocean. That's roughly the size of Alaska. And within that triangle, according to legend, somewhere between 50 ships and 20 aircraft have disappeared over the past century. Vanished, no wreckage, no bodies, no explanation, just gone. As if they sailed or flew into a different dimension and never came back. Now here's where it gets interesting, because if you ask the US Coast Guard about the Bermuda Triangle, they'll tell you it doesn't exist. Not officially. It doesn't appear on any government maps. The US Board on Geographic Names doesn't recognize it. And according to Lloyd's of London, one of the world's largest insurance companies, ships don't sink more frequently in the Bermuda Triangle than anywhere else in the ocean. In fact, when you account for the sheer volume of maritime and air traffic passing through this heavily traveled region every single day, the accident rate is completely normal, maybe even below average. So if the statistics say there's nothing unusual happening, why does the Bermuda Triangle have such a terrifying reputation? Why do people still believe ships and planes are being swallowed by some mysterious force? The answer, like most good mysteries, starts with a few very real tragedies, and then spirals into speculation, conspiracy theories, and a cultural obsession that's lasted over 60 years. Let's start with the disappearances that made the Bermuda Triangle famous. Because these aren't myths, these are documented events involving real people who never came home. March 1918. The USS Cyclops, a massive 542-foot-long collier ship carrying over 300 men and 10,000 tons of manganese ore, departed from Barbados heading for Baltimore, Maryland. The ship had stopped in Barbados to refuel after a journey from Brazil. The captain, George W. Worley, sent a message indicating fair weather and all well. Then the Cyclops sailed north and was never seen again. No distress signal was ever received. No wreckage was ever found. An extensive search by the US Navy turned up nothing. Not a single piece of debris. Not a body. Not even an oil slick. President Woodrow Wilson said at the time, "Only God and the sea know what happened to the great ship." The disappearance remains the single largest loss of life in US naval history, not involving combat. Over 300 men simply vanished. And here's what makes it even stranger. In 1941, 2 of the Cyclops' sister ships, the Proteus and Nereus, disappeared under nearly identical circumstances. Both were carrying heavy metallic ore. Both vanished without a trace along similar routes in the Atlantic. No SOS signals, no wreckage. 3 identical ships from the same class, all lost in the same general area, all carrying similar cargo. Coincidence? Maybe. But it's the kind of coincidence that breeds speculation. Fast forward to December 5th, 1945. 5 US Navy torpedo bombers, collectively known as Flight 19, took off from Fort Lauderdale Naval Air Station in Florida. It was a routine training mission, practice bombing runs over the Bahamas. Nothing complicated. The weather was clear. The pilots were experienced enough, though most were trainees. The flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor, had logged about 2,500 flight hours. They departed at 2:01 p.m. About 90 minutes into the flight, the trouble started. Radio transmissions from Taylor began coming through to the control tower. His compasses had stopped working. He thought they were over the Florida Keys, but they weren't. He thought heading northeast would take them back to land. It wouldn't. The radio man at the base could hear conversations between the pilots. They were lost, disoriented. Taylor was heard saying things like, "We don't know where we are. Everything is wrong, strange. The ocean doesn't look as it should." The transmissions became increasingly frantic. Fuel was running low. The weather was deteriorating. Then, around 7:00 p.m., all communications ceased. The 5 planes carrying 14 men vanished. A rescue mission was immediately launched. A Martin PBM Mariner flying boat with 13 crew members took off to search for Flight 19. 20 minutes after takeoff, the rescue plane disappeared from radar. It too was never found. 6 aircraft, 27 men, gone in a single day. The official Navy report initially blamed Lieutenant Taylor for getting lost and leading his squadron out over open ocean until they ran out of fuel and ditched into the sea. But the report was later amended to read, "Causes unknown because blaming the dead pilot felt wrong, and because nobody could definitively prove what happened. The planes were never found. No wreckage was ever recovered. And this disappearance, more than any other single event, cemented the Bermuda Triangle in the public imagination as a place where things vanish." The term Bermuda Triangle itself didn't exist until 1964. Before that, people knew strange things happened in that area, but it didn't have a catchy name. In September 1950, a reporter named Edward Van Winkle Jones wrote an article for the Associated Press about unusual disappearances of ships and planes in the region. 2 years later, Fate magazine published an article by George X. Sand titled "Sea Mystery at Our Back Door," which was the first to define the triangular area and suggest something supernatural might be responsible. But it was Vincent Gaddis, a writer for Argosy magazine, who coined the phrase Bermuda Triangle in a 1964 article called "The Deadly Bermuda Triangle." Gaddis linked together Flight 19, the USS Cyclops, and several other incidents, suggesting they were all part of a pattern. Something about this region, he implied, was fundamentally wrong. The article struck a nerve. Other writers jumped on the concept. John Wallace Spencer published Limbo of the Lost in 1969. Charles Berlitz released The Bermuda Triangle in 1974, which became a massive bestseller. Berlitz's book was full of dramatic stories, mysterious disappearances, and speculation about everything from UFOs to Atlantis. It sold millions of copies and turned the Bermuda Triangle into a cultural phenomenon. The 1970s were the peak of Bermuda Triangle hysteria. Documentaries were made, movies were produced, Everyone had a theory, and all of them were more sensational than the last. But here's the problem with Berlitz's book and most of the Bermuda Triangle literature that followed. It's full of errors, like staggeringly sloppy errors. In 1975, a librarian named Larry Kusher decided to investigate the Bermuda Triangle claims for himself. He went through the original source documents, news reports, Coast Guard records, and Navy files. What he found was shocking. Many of the disappearances Berlitz described never happened. They were completely fabricated. Other incidents did occur, but Berlitz conveniently left out crucial details, like the fact that the ships sank during hurricanes, or that they disappeared hundreds of miles outside the Bermuda Triangle, or that wreckage was actually found, contradicting claims that vessels vanished without a trace. Kusher published his findings in The Bermuda Triangle Mystery Solved in 1975. He demonstrated, methodically and thoroughly, that the Bermuda Triangle's reputation was built on bad research, exaggeration, and outright lies. Kusher famously said, "If Berlitz were to report that a boat was red, the chances of it being some other color is almost a certainty." The Bermuda Triangle, according to Kusher, was a manufactured mystery, a product of sensational journalism and people's willingness to believe in the unexplained. But here's the thing. Even after Kusher debunked it, even after scientists pointed out the statistical flaws, even after the Coast Guard officially said there's nothing unusual about the area, people kept believing. Because debunking a mystery isn't as exciting as maintaining one. And because some of the disappearances, while explainable, are still genuinely unsettling. So let's talk about the scientific explanations, the rational, evidence-based reasons why ships and planes might go down in this region more than people expect. First, weather. The Bermuda Triangle sits in one of the most volatile weather regions on Earth. The Gulf Stream, a powerful warm ocean current, flows directly through the area. It moves at speeds up to 4 miles per hour, which doesn't sound like much until you realize it can quickly carry debris hundreds of miles away from where a ship actually sank. A plane crashes, wreckage hits the water. The Gulf Stream sweeps it away before rescue teams arrive. Suddenly, you've got a disappearance with no evidence. The region is also a hotspot for tropical storms and hurricanes. On average, the Bermuda Triangle experiences multiple severe storms every year. These storms can develop rapidly. A ship leaves port in clear weather. 6 hours later, it's caught in a 100-mile-per-hour winds and 30-foot waves. Modern weather forecasting helps, but in the past, before satellites and advanced meteorology, ships sailed into deadly storms without warning all the time. And then there are rogue waves. These are massive, unexpected waves that can reach heights of 60 to 100 feet or more. They appear suddenly, often in otherwise calm seas, and are caused by the convergence of multiple wave systems. A rogue wave can easily capsize or break a large ship. In 2018, researchers from the University of Southampton used simulators to demonstrate how rogue waves could have sunk vessels like the USS Cyclops. The ship was designed to be supported at the bow and stern by wave peaks. If a massive rogue wave struck amidships while the front and back were unsupported, the ship could snap in half. Structural failure, instant sinking, no time to send a distress signal. Then there's human error, a huge factor that doesn't get talked about enough. According to Simon Boxall, an oceanographer at the University of Southampton, about 82% of maritime incidents in the Bermuda Triangle region involve people with no formal training or experience. The area is one of the most popular recreational boating regions in the United States. Thousands of inexperienced sailors take boats out every year. Many don't have proper navigation equipment. Some literally navigate using road maps and rely on cell phones for communication, which stop working 30 miles offshore. Combine inexperience with unpredictable weather, strong currents, and heavy traffic, and you get accidents, lots of them. But because the Bermuda Triangle has this reputation, every accident gets attributed to the mystery instead of to someone who didn't know what they were doing. And let's talk about the compass anomaly. One of the enduring myths of the Bermuda Triangle is that compasses malfunction there, pointing to true north instead of magnetic north, causing navigational errors. There is a tiny grain of truth to this. The Earth's magnetic field shifts over time, and there are a few places on the planet where compass variation, the difference between true north and magnetic north, is zero. The Bermuda Triangle used to be one of those places in the early 20th century, but the magnetic field has shifted since then. The agonic line, where variation is zero, has moved. It no longer passes through the Bermuda Triangle, so modern compasses work fine there. And even when compasses did point to true north, experienced navigators knew how to compensate. It wasn't a mystery, it was basic navigation. So if we've got scientific explanations for the disappearances, why do conspiracy theories persist? Because mysteries are compelling. And because some of the disappearances are genuinely weird, even with rational explanations. Flight 19, for example. Yes, Lieutenant Taylor got lost. Yes, he was unfamiliar with the area and had a history of navigational errors. Yes, the planes probably ran out of fuel and ditched into the ocean. But here's what bothers people. 5 planes went down. A rescue plane also vanished. And in 80 years of searching, including modern underwater surveys with advanced sonar, nobody has ever found a single piece of wreckage from any of those 6 aircraft. How do you lose 6 planes and never find anything? The Atlantic isn't that deep in that area. Ships have been found, submarines have been located, but Flight 19 remains completely missing. That's unsettling, and it leaves room for speculation. Maybe they crashed in deep water and were covered by sediment. Maybe the Gulf Stream carried the debris far from the search area. Or maybe something else happened, something we don't want to consider. Let's dive into the conspiracy theories, because they're where things get truly strange. Theory 1. The Lost City of Atlantis. This theory was popularized by Charles Berlitz and has been repeated in countless books and documentaries. The idea is that Atlantis, the legendary advanced civilization described by Plato, sank beneath the waves somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. And according to believers, it sank specifically in the Bermuda Triangle. The ruins of this ancient city supposedly lie on the seafloor, and the advanced technology the Atlanteans possessed, things like energy crystals or electromagnetic devices, is still active. These technologies emit radiation or energy fields that interfere with modern ships and planes, causing compasses to malfunction, engines to fail, and vessels to crash or sink. Supporters of this theory point to the Bimini Road, an underwater rock formation near the Bahamas that some claim looks like an ancient paved road or wall. In 1968, a researcher named J. Manson Valentine discovered this formation and declared it proof of Atlantis. The scientific consensus, however, is that the Bimini Road is a natural geological formation, beach rock to be specific. limestone that formed naturally in rectangular patterns, not a road, not evidence of advanced civilization, just rocks. But believers aren't convinced. They argue that mainstream science is dismissing evidence because acknowledging Atlantis would overturn established history. And yes, Atlantis almost certainly didn't exist as Plato described it. Most historians agree it was a fictional allegory. But the idea that an advanced prehistoric civilization could have existed and been lost to rising sea levels after the last ice age isn't completely absurd. If such a civilization built coastal cities 12,000 years ago, those cities would now be underwater, buried under sediment. Finding them would require extensive underwater archaeology in deep water, which we haven't done. So while Atlantis, as crystal-powered supercity, is fantasy, the possibility of undiscovered ancient ruins on the ocean floor remains theoretically plausible. Theory 2. Aliens and UFOs, or more accurately, USOs, unidentified submerged objects. This theory proposes that extraterrestrials use the Bermuda Triangle as a base of operations or a portal to Earth. The deep ocean provides perfect cover. It's unexplored, inaccessible, and constantly monitored by almost no one. According to believers, aliens abduct ships and planes to study human technology and biology. The vessels are pulled underwater or teleported into underwater bases, which is why wreckage is never found. Crew members are either experimented on or released with their memories wiped. Some versions of this theory claim that the aliens have been here for thousands of years, possibly even building underwater cities. Others suggest their recent arrivals using the Bermuda Triangle as a staging area for a larger invasion or colonization effort. Evidence? Mostly anecdotal. Reports from pilots and sailors who claim to have seen strange lights in the water or objects moving at impossible speeds. In 1970, a pilot named Bruce Jernan reported flying through a strange tunnel-shaped cloud in the Bermuda Triangle. He claims he experienced a time warp, arriving in Miami 30 minutes faster than should have been possible, and with less fuel consumed than expected. Jernan has spent decades promoting his story as proof of anomalous phenomena in the Triangle. Skeptics point out that atmospheric conditions, especially in tropical regions, can create unusual cloud formations and wind patterns that affect flight time and fuel consumption. Jernan's experience, while subjective, doesn't require aliens to explain, but believers see it as evidence of something beyond current science. Theory 3. Time, portals and dimensional rifts. This one's pure science fiction, but it's surprisingly popular. The idea is that the Bermuda Triangle contains a gateway to another dimension or time period. Ships and planes that enter this portal are transported elsewhere, either to a parallel universe or to a different point in time. They don't sink or crash. They simply cease to exist in our reality. Some versions of this theory suggest that the portal opens randomly, which is why most vessels pass through the Bermuda Triangle without incident. You have to be in exactly the right place at exactly the right time for the portal to grab you. And once you're gone forever. Unless you reappear somewhere else, like the theories that claim ancient ships or World War II aircraft have been found in impossible locations, perfectly preserved as if they just vanished yesterday. Of course, there's no scientific basis for dimensional portals. Wormholes are theoretical constructs in physics, and even if they exist, they would be incredibly unstable and require exotic matter to maintain. The idea that a stable portal sits in the Bermuda Triangle, occasionally swallowing ships, is fantasy. but it's compelling fantasy because it offers an explanation for the unexplainable that doesn't rely on mundane things like storms or human error. Theory 4. Government experiments and military secrets. This theory suggests that the US military conducts classified experiments in the Bermuda Triangle region, testing advanced weapons, weather control technology, or electromagnetic devices. These tests occasionally go wrong, causing ships and planes to be destroyed. The military then covers up the incidents, classifying them as mysterious disappearances to avoid admitting responsibility. Supporters point to the fact that the US has extensive military installations in Florida, Puerto Rico, and throughout the Caribbean. The region is heavily monitored, and some disappearances, like Flight 19, involved military aircraft. What if Flight 19 stumbled upon a classified test? What if they saw something they weren't supposed to see and were shot down to maintain secrecy? The wreckage was then recovered and hidden, and the official story of navigational error was fabricated. There's a kernel of plausibility here. Governments do conduct secret tests. They do cover up accidents when admitting them would compromise national security. But there's no evidence linking any Bermuda Triangle disappearance to military activity. And most of the missing vessels were civilian ships and private planes, which the military would have no reason to target. Still, the theory persists because distrust of government runs deep, and because classified operations do happen, even if they're not responsible for this particular mystery. Theory 5. Methane gas hydrates. Now this one actually has some scientific backing, at least in principle. The theory proposes that large deposits of methane gas are trapped beneath the seafloor in the Bermuda Triangle region. Occasionally, geological disturbances cause the methane to erupt, releasing massive bubbles that rise rapidly to the surface. When a bubble reaches the surface, it reduces the density of the water. A ship floating over that area suddenly loses buoyancy and sinks. The same bubbles could affect aircraft flying low over the water, causing engines to fail due to changes in air density. And the methane could ignite, creating fireballs that some witnesses have reported seeing. There is evidence for methane hydrate deposits in the Atlantic Ocean. In 2016, scientists discovered large craters on the seafloor off the coast of Norway, believed to have been caused by methane explosions. If similar deposits exist in the Bermuda Triangle, and if they've erupted in the past, this could explain some disappearances. The problem is timing. Scientists estimate that the last major methane releases in the North Atlantic occurred about 20,000 years ago, after the last ice age. There's no evidence of recent eruptions in the Bermuda Triangle. Additionally, a 2003 study tested the theory with model ships and bubbles. While large bubbles could sink ships under specific conditions, the ships would have to be directly over the eruption site at the exact moment of the blowout. And modern ships are designed to handle turbulent water. So while methane hydrates are real, and while they theoretically could sink ships, there's no proof they've caused any Bermuda Triangle disappearances. It remains an interesting hypothesis with no supporting data. Now let's talk about the disappearances that have been explained, because not every Bermuda Triangle mystery is actually mysterious. Take the USS Cyclops. For decades, its disappearance was blamed on the Triangle's curse. But modern analysis suggests a much simpler explanation: structural failure. The Cyclops was carrying an unusually heavy load of manganese ore, which is denser than the coal the ship normally transported. The ore was loaded improperly, with too much weight concentrated at the front and back of the ship, stressing the hull in the middle. Naval architects have suggested that rough seas could have caused the ship to break in half. This would explain the sudden sinking without an SOS signal. The crew wouldn't have had time to react. And here's the kicker. The Cyclops' two sister ships, Proteus and Nereus, also disappeared while carrying heavy ore. Both ships were known to have structural problems. Their I-beams, the metal supports running the length of the hull, were corroding due to the chemical properties of the cargo. One of the sister ships, USS Jason, developed severe structural damage and had to be extensively repaired. The others didn't get that chance. They broke apart and sank before anyone realized how compromised they were. Not mysterious, just tragic engineering failure. The Carroll A. Deering, a 5-masted schooner found abandoned near Cape Hatteras in 1921, was another famous Bermuda Triangle case. The ship was discovered run aground with no crew aboard. Everything was intact except the lifeboats, which were missing, and the crew's personal effects, which were gone. For years, people speculated about pirates, mutiny, or supernatural forces. The FBI investigated. Theories included rum runners, communist sabotage, and even sea monsters. In reality, the most likely explanation is mutiny or piracy. The ship's crew had been complaining about the captain. There were reports of tension on board. The crew probably either mutinied and abandoned ship, or the ship was boarded by pirates who kidnapped or killed the crew. Not as exciting as the Bermuda Triangle curse, but far more plausible. And Flight 19, as much as people want it to be a mystery, the evidence points to a tragic case of disorientation. Lieutenant Taylor was unfamiliar with the area. His compass malfunctioned. He misidentified landmarks and flew the wrong direction. His trainees followed him because he was their commanding officer. They flew east over open ocean until they ran out of fuel and ditched into the Atlantic. The rescue plane that went missing likely suffered a mid-air explosion. The PBM Mariner was known to have fuel line problems that could cause fires. Witnesses on a nearby ship reported seeing a fireball and debris hitting the water around the time the rescue plane vanished. Wreckage was never recovered, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. The Atlantic is deep, currents are strong, and search efforts in 1945 didn't have modern technology. The planes are out there somewhere. We just haven't found them yet. Not a mystery, just a combination of bad luck, human error, and the vastness of the ocean. So, why does the Bermuda Triangle myth endure? Because humans love mysteries. We're pattern-seeking creatures. When something bad happens, we want an explanation. And when multiple bad things happen in the same general area, we assume there's a connection. But sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it's just statistics. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the most heavily trafficked regions of ocean in the world. Thousands of ships and planes pass through it every year. Accidents are going to happen. And when they do, people remember them because of the Triangle's reputation. But accidents in other parts of the ocean get ignored because they don't fit the narrative. It's confirmation bias on a massive scale. We remember the hits and forget the misses. And the media loves the Bermuda Triangle because it's a great story. It sells books, drives clicks, and makes for compelling television. So every few years, someone publishes a new Bermuda Triangle theory, and the cycle repeats, even though it's been debunked, even though the statistics don't support it, even though every rational explanation is available, because mystery is more interesting than reality. But here's where I'm going to throw you a curveball. Just because most Bermuda Triangle stories are explainable doesn't mean all of them are. Just because Charles Berlitz was a sensationalist hack doesn't mean nothing strange has ever happened in that region. The ocean is vast, mostly unexplored, full of phenomena we don't fully understand. Rogue waves weren't scientifically documented until 1995, but sailors had been reporting them for centuries. Science dismissed them as tall tales until we finally measured one. What else might be happening out there that we haven't measured yet? What if there are localized magnetic anomalies we haven't detected? What if there are geological features on the seafloor that affect navigation in ways we don't understand? What if some combination of weather, currents, and geography creates a perfect storm of danger that makes this particular region slightly more hazardous than average, even if the statistics don't reflect it? I'm not saying aliens or Atlantis or time portals, but I am saying the ocean is weird, and we shouldn't be so confident that we've explained everything just because we've debunked the most sensational theories. Because here's the truth about the Bermuda Triangle. It's both real and not real. The geographic area is real. The disappearances are real. But the mystery is manufactured, created by bad research, sensational journalism, and a cultural desire to believe in something beyond the mundane. Ships sink in the Bermuda Triangle for the same reasons they sink everywhere else: storms, mechanical failure, human error, and bad luck. But calling it the Bermuda Triangle makes it sound like more than that. It transforms tragedy into mystery. And mystery, as we've established, is compelling. So the legend endures. New books get written, new documentaries get made, new theories get proposed, and every time a ship or plane goes missing in that region, someone, somewhere, will whisper, "The Bermuda Triangle strikes again," even though it didn't, even though there's nothing there except water, weather, and the ghosts of stories we refuse to let die. If you made it this far, thank you. Seriously. You just spent close to an hour learning about one of the world's most famous manufactured mysteries. Hit that like button if the Bermuda Triangle fascinates you, even knowing it's mostly myth. Subscribe to Beyond the Surface for more deep dives into ocean mysteries, conspiracy theories, and the uncomfortable space where facts and legends overlap. And leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Do you believe there's something genuinely strange about the Bermuda Triangle? Or is it all just confirmation bias and bad journalism? Let me know where you're watching from, because there are people all over the world right now wondering the same thing. Is the Bermuda Triangle real? And the answer, as with most good mysteries, is it depends on what you mean by real. Until next time, stay curious. Stay skeptical. And if you ever find yourself sailing through the Bermuda Triangle, don't worry. The biggest danger isn't aliens or time portals. It's not checking the weather forecast. Sleep well, if you can.